Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Rose Writes and I write and narrate Miraculous Ladybug fan fiction. Thank you so much to ChocoLuck Chipz for allowing me to use their amazing artwork in my thumbnail. If you'd like to check them out, their info will be linked below. Also, if you haven't seen the previous 14 chapters of Adrienette April, they will also be linked below, so be sure to give those a watch. Without further ado, please enjoy Adrienette April, Day 15, Fairy Lights. Marinette stood on her balcony, staring wistfully at the outside world that grew darker and darker with each passing minute as the sun set over Paris. Everything felt so calm. Marinette could have fallen asleep at any moment, until a voice called from down below. "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair!" She curiously bent over the railing, spying Adrien with a hand over his heart, the other holding a single red rose. Marinette giggled, then peered around to ensure they were alone. "Come up here, my hair isn't long enough." She shook her head, her hair dangling, reaching no longer than her collarbones. With a swift transformation, the now Cat Noir leapt to Marinette's balcony. He perched in front of her on the railing. "Hi, kitty," Marinette chirped. "Where are we going?" "Out," he said simply, not wanting to give anything away. "You could have come down to me too, you know." He hopped down to stand by her side, towering over her, handing her the rose. She took a large sniff of the flower before saying, "Yeah, I could have. Maybe I just want you to carry me." She winked at him. Cat Noir scoffed playfully. "You're such a princess." "But I'm your princess." She flicked his bell, smiling wide, the moonlight reflecting off her pearly whites. "That you are." He swept Marinette off her feet, bounding through the night sky. He carried her through Paris, Marinette holding onto him tightly. When they finally landed, she took stock of her location. "We're at your house?" she said with confusion. The mansion loomed over them, appearing even more menacing at night. A flash ripped through the air, Cat Noir becoming Adrien. He smiled, looking mischievous. "Come with me," he said, pulling her by the hand. "Oh, and close your eyes." She did as she was told, though hesitant. He guided her along the path leading to the house, taking a turn, then walking through the well-kept grass. "Where are we?" she started. "You'll see. I've never shown this to anyone before." He spoke, his voice soft and soothing. As they continued walking, Marinette felt her heart beating in her throat. She'd been to Adrien's house dozens of times, so what was this surprise? Through her closed eyelids, she noticed a bright light emanating around her. Beside her, Adrien took a deep breath. "Okay, open your eyes." Her eyes fluttered open as she stared at the scene her boyfriend had set. Hundreds of fairy lights lit the garden from every angle, bouncing off the dew sitting on the flowers. In a rainbow of vivid colors, the garden hung in an arc, surrounding the teens. Marinette spun in a circle, taking in each facet of this view. This is amazing, Adrien!" Her face was one of pure glee. She danced across the cobblestone, giving her attention to each flower, smelling them one after another. She suddenly stopped at a statue of an elegant woman with a beautiful smile and kind eyes. Adrien joined Marinette, both staring up at the statue that stood before them. "Thank you. This garden belonged to my mother." He gestured up to the graven image, the statue perpetually smiling. Marinette slowly turned to him, eyes still filled with wonder. "Really?" Adrien stared up at his mother's peaceful face with great reverence. "She was something of a gardener. She always loved flowers." He looked around the garden sadly, the beautiful plants swaying gently in the breeze. He sighed heavily. "I'm nowhere near the gardener she was, but I hope she'd be proud of this. I've tried my best to keep them alive." He chuckled softly. Of course she'd be proud. Marinette embraced him, rubbing his back tenderly. She'd be proud of the person you've become, too. Thank you, Marinette, Adrien said in a whisper, placing his head on her small shoulders. They both stared at the statue for another moment in silence. She would have liked you, you know. Huh? Marinette said, coming back from her trance. My mother. Adrien smiled at his girlfriend somberly, taking her hand. She would have liked you. You remind me of her. Really? Yeah, she was kind, stubborn too. He laughed, remembering. She was the most wonderful person in my life. Just like you. He turned his gaze to Marinette, his eyes watering. Ah, sorry. I just miss her. I wish I could have met her, she said, squeezing his side. She's beautiful. You've got her eyes. He squeezed her back. I love you, Marinette, he said, not breaking eye contact with his mother's statue. This was the first time he had said those words to her, and Marinette couldn't think of a better place to share this moment. I love you too, Adrien, so much. More silence passed before Marinette said, Thank you for showing me the garden, Adrien. If you'd like, maybe I could help you tend it sometimes. I'd love that, Marinette. Adrien passed another glance at his mother's statue before saying, And so would she. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to give this video a big like and subscribe. I am almost at 2,000 subscribers! I think the last time I checked, I was like 3 away, so by the time this goes up, maybe I will have reached that. That is so crazy. So, big thank you to you guys. Stay tuned on my community page because I'm going to be doing a cool thing where the winner of this little thing I'm doing gets to create an OC that I will be plugging into a story at some point. So be sure to stay tuned for that because I'm really, really excited about it. I think it'll be a lot of fun. And as always, stay miraculous!